So here we are with the League Cup final. We are playing at Moor Lane, which is the home of Salford. You obviously are aware of that team from all those documentaries and everything. The class of '96, of '92, isn't it? '92. Their team, etc. So we're playing at their ground. It does seem slightly odd to me because I did have a game, I think, either in this competition or a similar competition not that long ago at Old Trafford. And you think, well, that was just a normal cup game, and you'd think that a final, well, if you can play any game there, then why not play a final there? Don't know why, but there you go. Only 796 tickets sold, so it's perfectly fair enough in that sense. But if we're going to play anything at Old Trafford, then you'd think it would be this one. Um, 796 presumably is a decent gate at this level. It will mean a little bit of a boost to our finances. We are going to be without Brad Wild, which is a bit of a shame. It means we have to play someone who hasn't played for a little while, and I think it's going to have to be Pollard. Far from ideal for a final, but I don't think I've got much of a choice. So here we go, I guess. Obviously, we are going to be finishing off this episode with a bit of a review, not just of this season, but of the save so far, just because this might be one of the last. Well, no, I'll finish the season if I start it, so this won't be the last season. But I will go through some sort of stats which might be of interest to some through the whole of our history. I've gone through and just sort of checked a few to make sure that they're accurate, because obviously, as you may be aware, that the main stats are generally generated through various slightly flawed problems, whether that's league things only or just the years where they've done particularly well. I have a fairly comprehensive list of the top fives or so of to a couple of different categories, and I'm just going to discuss a few of those plus a few records and so on. So we will do that after the game. But here we are at Salford. It's 0-0, and here we go. Hopefully we can get an early goal and settle some nerves. Obviously, having been promoted, I'm a lot less nervous than I would otherwise be. But that £10,000 would clearly come in very useful as we search to, realistically, probably survive next season, or at least get a mid-table finish. If I can get another promotion, then great. I think it's probably not quite likely. If I can get a couple more players like Whitcomb, then maybe, obviously in different positions. But I think it's going to take a few of those before we can really challenge in the next level. And we found ourselves behind 33 goals. Eric Bowman has had scored this year. That's a very good record by anyone's standards. It's the kind of thing that I wanted really for Whitcomb. He hasn't quite hit those heights. How many has he got now? 28, so he's a little behind, and obviously only 14 of those in the league as well. Yeah, the 10 goals in the FA Vars kind of don't really count because we didn't win it, so who cares? So yeah, slightly disappointing, but we managed to win the league anyway, so who cares? Hopefully he can step up next season and really start delivering in the higher level, where he will feel a bit more at home. But we are certainly struggling a little here, and now we're 2-0 down. Okafor again, just doesn't do anything. I've barely seen him make a save, this guy. It's not that anyone else is any better, but I've barely seen him make a save. Akinola gets nicked the ball off it. I think this is not looking good at all. We're all over the place here. Feels a bit like a league-winning hangover, which is a shame because it would be a nice win to get. Yes, okay, £10,000 might not be quite as significant now as it used to be, but it would certainly have been a nice little fillet at the end of the season and just give us that little boost before we go up to the next leagues. Get one before half time, I suppose, then you never know. Akinola swings the ball in, nothing comes of it. They're going to hit us on the break again. It looks like it, because the defence is so porous. It's just all over the place. The two men completely unmarked at the edge there. They're going to go down to 10 men here, which I suppose gives us a little bit of a way back in, but we've got a lot to do for sure. And they're bound to kind of just put 9 men behind the ball now, aren't they? Smith gets one back. You never know. He's been a real revelation this year, Joanne Smith. He had a good year last year, but this year, for me, he's been a fair bit better. I know the stats don't show that significant jump, but for me, he's been a fair bit better. He's just made things happen a lot more, and it's not really about the goals, although he's scored a fair few goals as well. He just seems to have made more happen, I think. But we've got a lot to do in the second half. It doesn't really look to me like this is a likely comeback. But you never know. We will fight on. Akinola, if anyone's going to make something happen, he's certainly one of the people I would be looking to. And Kafour, he really is all over the place, this keeper. I'm going to have to try and find someone better if here. I did think like he looked like a little bit of an improvement, but he really hasn't proved to be. 4 clean sheets in 17, average rating 6.84. It's not ideal. Akinola. No reaction there at all from Morrison. If there had been, he could have got on the edge of that. On the end, sorry. Got to go for it. We need some goals quickly. Waterhouse out to Akinola. Hopeful ball towards Waterhouse, but it doesn't get anywhere near him. And Bowman can hit us on the break now because our defence completely irrelevant. Might as well not have them. I don't know what I'm going to do because they seem like not terrible players, but they just don't do anything in terms of defending. That's why you can see all these shots here. We're quite lucky not to be further down than 3-1, to be honest. We are being absolutely muddied here. And Stead makes it. No, he doesn't. He's hit the post. But again, torn apart. We don't deserve to win this. We really don't. And look, I'd taken this. We won the league. I don't mind too much about this. It's only £10,000. It's not the end of the world. I'm not even bothering making substitutions here. I just don't feel like it's worth it, to be honest. Akinola to Whitcomb. It would have been annoying if we'd scored there. Probably have been too late. Well, it's disappointment in the cup, but still, a promotion is certainly a very, very good return from this season, and I'm still happy despite a really, really poor performance here at Salford. Hopefully, it won't be too long before we're back here in the league. That's certainly something to look forward to. Right, I will be back in a minute when I will be taking you through a bit of a review of the season, but also a review of what's been happening really in this save so far. See you in a moment. Right, and here we are at our end of season review. It's now the eight players from this season have been inducted, so it's obviously been a really good season. Brad Wild is obviously the pick of them. He has certainly been a real stalwart for the last few years. Troy Whitcomb seems like he's gone on the bench, as has Osei. As Blakeman's actually gone into the first 11, which is a bit of a surprise because I think he's only played 40 games, so it's not a lot. But certainly plenty of potential there. Isherwood, that's a real surprise. He hasn't been very good. I mean, he's only on the bench, but still, I'm surprised by that. Luke Hogg, fair enough. Actually, is it fair enough? 24 games at 6.86. That's a really strange one as well. Don't understand that either. Kafour, you're on the bench. Really? I mean, he's looked pretty awful to me, to be honest. And Jake Lovegrove, none of these make any sense to me. Really odd one. Yeah, I don't get that at all. At the end of season awards, this makes a bit more sense, I think. Javon Smith, fair enough. Harry Waterhouse, fair enough. Tomatsu Makinola, fair enough. Slightly surprised Troy Whitcomb's not there, but those three have certainly played very well. And I think there's not a lot of doubt that those four are the best players of the season. Young player of the season, Javon Smith, makes complete sense to me. That's absolutely fine. Although Troy Whitcomb's also 19, so slightly strange one, I suppose. Still, it's been a good season. Match of the season, that win against Northwich Victoria. Don't forget the defeat against Camel Led, which nearly looked like it might derail us. It's only 67 people in the stands. It's not impressive, is it? Squad dynamics look pretty good. Waterhouse is a leader, which is interesting. It probably means I need to keep him around. He doesn't look like he'll be any good in the next level, but then I said that the last couple, so who knows. Post-match and all there. I will get them back quite early, I think, because we need to do some preparation. There will, I'm sure, be plenty of new signings that I need to bed in. So, that, I think, is all we need to do in terms of this season, although Troy Whitcomb has broken the record, 28 goals, which is good because I do think he is the best striker I've ever had, so he should hold a couple of records. And Akinola, 18 assists. And that's a good place to start, because I did want to talk really now about our records. Troy Whitcomb, obviously, you've just seen, has broken that. Tim Akinola has 128 appearances according to this. That's actually not correct. I'm going to come back to that, mainly because that's in the league, and I think, that's probably accurate. But it's obviously a fair bit more than that in the overall. I will let you know who the overall appearance holder is for that, and the goals as well. 51 to Max Gee. What I will tell you now is that it's a different person who has the most goals for us overall. It's not Max Gee. Max Gee is not top of that, so we will come back to that shortly. Anything else that we've broken recently? Obviously, Javan Smith last season, the most league goals by a player. Tim Akinola, yes, we just talked about that. Looks like nothing else has been broken for a little while, which is fair enough. But yeah, some good stuff going on there for sure. I think now I'm just going to take you back to some records that I have looked up. But I just want to show you a few things about the squad in terms of the best players this season. Smith, highest average rating along with Waterhouse close to him. Troy Whitcomb a little bit further back, and obviously surprised by that. I guess sometimes players' attributes are not the only thing that matter, and I suppose that's fair enough. Tim Akinola, 18 assists, that's really impressive. Good to see 13 from Jacob Osei as well. Still wondering whether I might be able to get him in at the end of the season. Still got 8 days till his contract runs out. I would think that probably means he's not going to get it renewed, and I will try and get him if I can from Darlington. Jazz Casey, slightly disappointing. He had a very good end to the season, which sort of improved his stats slightly. So I think that's about it as far as that's concerned. I want to take you through now some of my greatest players. So these are the players who have made the biggest contributions, I feel, to my game. As I say, I feel this is purely statistics based, but I will talk about them as we go. So you may see some names here you may remember, you may not remember them all. That's fine. It's a little bit of a trip down memory lane in this league before we move up to the next one. So in terms of most appearances, I've gone with this one. I've gone from, it's basically for anyone who's gone for played 100 times for us or more, and there are only 6 of them because obviously as we've gone up the leagues, we've tended to have a fairly large turnover of players. So at 6 we have Morrison, who's on 104. He's obviously still playing. In fact, did play in that final that you've just seen. Then we go up to 5th, where Finley Hayhurst stands, although he is level with Morrison. He got there first, so that's why he's ahead of him. That might be it for Hayhurst, I think. He's nowhere near the team at the moment. He may not get another game now. Following that is Jazz Casey with 110. He came in initially as a loanee, you may remember, and has played a lot of games in every season he's been there. Then it moves up to the top 3, where we find Waterhouse with 120. And then the top 2, I wonder if you've worked it out yet. Who do you think the top 2 are? Well, in second place we have Max Gee with 136. And top, I'm sure you'll have worked this one out. It's very hard to miss it. It's fairly obvious. It's Tim Akinola with 173. So those are our players, in terms of the players who have played the most for us since we have been managing East Manchester. So in terms of great goal scorers, I suppose rather more importantly, I've got a list here of all of our players here who have got 20 goals or more. I don't think I missed anyone here. There may be the only thing I'm wondering is whether there may be some midfielders who've got quite a few. I wonder, actually, thinking about it, whether Finley Hayhurst might have got 20, but who've got 20 at a decent rate anyway. You'll know what I mean. So first of all, we're going to go with some what I'm going to call also rounds. These are people who got between 20 and 30, and I think they're worthy mentions, but they're not quite in the kind of the top echelons. So we start off with them. We've got Troy Whitcomb, who obviously will score more because he has. Oh, I hadn't mentioned, actually. I'll just show you in the background. One bit of good news is that Troy Whitcomb has actually signed another contract extension. He's signed 2 contract extensions since he's arrived. First one took him through to the end of next year. I'm now going for 2 more years, which obviously is ideal, and that was really, really good news there. So I probably should have mentioned that before. But yeah, that's really good news, and he will. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get to the top of this list, to be honest. But we will see how it goes. Number 4, we have James Barragan with 35, who will obviously be overtaken by quite a lot of people. Even if I play one more season, I would have thought, I mean, Whitcomb definitely will. Mills, if he stays around, could do. He might not, but I think there's very little chance he will be anywhere near the top 10 actually if we carry on. Then after that we go on to Javan Smith, who I have to say I was surprised he was as high as this. 68 goals for Javan Smith. He's been a better player than I gave him credit for, I have to admit. I'm sure you've worked out who the top two is. The top two are by now. At number 2, very very close to Javan Smith, is Max Gee with 136. Sorry, no, I was looking at appearances. He's not that close. Ignore that very very close to comment. That's wrong. No, actually no, it's not wrong. It is right. It's just that I've written it down wrong. That shouldn't say 136. It should say 69. So as I say, he is very very close to Smith. And obviously with Smith, he's likely to get more goals next season than Gee, so I imagine that Smith will overtake Gee, assuming of course that he stays in the first team, which he may not. That's rather depend on what I can find. And that means you all know who the winner is. Everyone can see. It's obvious. It's the man, the myth, the legend, the first season top goal scorer, the man who has come back and continued to score for no obvious reason, because he's rubbish. But he's got 76 goals for the club, and he's done an absolutely great job in that time. So yeah, those are the sort of legendary players of the club up to this point. It might be that there's only one season left, in which case, we're probably looking at Akinola staying there at the top there, because I imagine he will be playing there next year. And we're probably looking at Javan Smith overtaking Harry Waterhouse, probably, because I think he's a better player. Troy Whitcomb probably won't overtake them, but he'll get up closer to him. He'll certainly overtake James Barragan next season. So assuming there is only one, I imagine it will be Smith, Waterhouse, Gee and Whitcomb in that order. But we will see. As I say, who knows how much more time we've got left. If I was to get a kind of notification that the new patch was out in the next few hours, then I might end up deciding that I will go for playing that game straight away, and then we'll call this the end of the series. So just in case that's the case, I'm going to say goodbye here. I'm not necessarily expecting this to be the last video, but it might be. If I start a new season, I will finish it, but this could be the end of this series. I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, I certainly hope that you will be back if there's another video, and if and when there is a new series to let you know about, I will let you know. I will probably post a short video here just introducing it and letting you know where you can find it. I hope you've enjoyed this series so far. Let me know who your favourite player is. I hope it's one of these players here, because it really ought to be. It should be one of these names, I think. If one of these players isn't your best player, your favourite player, then you really have some soul searching to do. I have to admit I have a little bit of a soft spot for Sir Raffle Bahailu, who was Akinola's predecessor, but there's just no way. I will tell you next video who my favourite player is. I've got a pretty good idea who it is. Although it could if I play another season, that could change. I think that Troy Whitcomb could well end up being my favourite player. I generally tend to favour strikers, I think. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you tomorrow with something or other. What video that is, we will find out later. Bye for now.